And welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Track Day Noob. In this episode, I'm going to be looking at putting a set of Gsxr race bodywork onto this 2001 SV650S. And the name of this channel is Matt Tries to Do Things, and that's because I really don't know what I'm doing on any motorcycle stuff, and this video is going to be the embodiment of everything this channel stands for, because I really don't know what I'm doing, but I have been trying a lot of things, and I think I finally, after many hours and many broken things, gotten on something that I think might actually work. Now, I know thousands of people have done this before, but I can't really find a great guide or anything on how to do it. So I bought this bodywork from a guy that I met at Road America after I had my little incident last year, and I spent some time with him. We went over everything. He had this bodywork on a Gen 1 as well, a Gen 1 SV650, so I know it works, and I know that there's lots of people with them. But I think in this video, I'm going to show you how I've gotten to this point. Now, I haven't fully figured everything else out yet, but I've gotten it to a point where I think this mounting setup is going to work, and I've just got some little things that I've got to work out. I also need to figure out how to weld, because there's one spot where I think I'm going to need to weld. But in this video, I'm gonna show you how I've been making up these brackets, and then I'll take everything off, and then I'll start from the beginning and show you all the parts that went into this. I should note, I want to be able to still run the stock bodywork because I don't know this bike well enough, and I'm still trying to test different things, carburetor things and whatnot, and I don't want to rule out the ability to run on the street. So I think I'm going to be able to get this to work so I can go back and forth between the stock bodywork and this bodywork, which will allow me to keep going onto the street, testing a couple things, and then eventually this will just get turned into a track-only bike. But I don't want to go track-only yet. So the toughest thing about getting this bodywork to actually work on this bike is, it was already done for me, mostly, is actually getting the main fairing stay. This is from a Gsxr, and I bought it this way, and he'd modified it so that an SV650 gauge cluster could work, and I'm really happy about that, because I don't want to lose the tachometer. I can do without the speedometer. I know I'm not going very fast, but I really like having the tachometer. I don't have it set up so the electrical can work right now, because I'm going back and forth, but there was some jiggliness up front, but he took care of the biggest part. And what I did after that, after actually a couple friends, we went to the motorcycle race at 5-Serve Forum. We went to Flat Out Friday, and they came over and they gave me some damn good ideas on how I should go about this. And basically hung everything based on their suggestion I hung everything with little aluminum brackets that I made up, just so everything could hang, so that I could get an idea of what types of brackets I wanted to use. Now, he gave me the brackets that he had made up, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm sorry Mike, I cannot figure out how any of these things worked. Which is why I'm thinking everybody does this very differently. But what I did is I got just basically everything hanging on these, and right now these are the 1/8 inch brackets that I have on there, but there's still one I need to make, which is at least one I need to make, which is down at the bottom here. And I think what I'm gonna do is use this spot here, and basically I had it mounted there so this thing doesn't jiggle as much. And now I need to make up this bracket in 1/8 inch by 3/4 inch steel. So the pieces of material I've been working on, and this is just some of that flexible stuff that I use to make up all these different brackets. I've got 1 inch weldable 1/16 of an inch steel rod, but then this is the one I've mainly been using here for it, and this is 3/4 inch by 1/8 inch weldable steel. And then there's a couple spots where I was thinking about trying to use this 1/16 of an inch aluminum, which is way more expensive, way easier to work with, but I also don't think it's strong enough. But this came in super important for the fairing stay, which I'll get to. But this is the piece that I'm going to now, I need to just make up this one out of here so that I can mount the lower fairing onto there. The pieces of, or the tools I've been using to do that, the big ass hammer, this fucking Fisher Price, I don't know, the vise that I bought at Habitat for Humanity a long time ago. I mean, most of my shit comes from China. I need a Dremel. I bought a 5-pack of these cutting tools because you'll start burning through them pretty quickly. Some Tap Magic, and then something to drill holes with, a punch, and then a grinding wheel to take off a bunch of the burrs, and then I'm going to clean up most of them once I'm done. I did go and just buy a bunch of little tiny brackets because I seriously had no idea what would work. I've been literally just been laying in my bed trying to figure out how to make this thing work. So what I need to do now is I need to figure out the length of this, and then I'll end up marking it with my Sharpie so I know what length of this steel rod to cut, and then I'm just going to go over it, not flatten it. I'm going to go over because every one of these I'm going to end up cleaning up later, so I know I'll cut more material off them later. So I got that there. Going to bring this over into my vise. So I've got my piece, and I just want to take off some of the sharp edges so I'm not hurting myself. Now what I got to do is basically just go and double check that my aluminum piece is where I want it on those bends. There is a little give that you can do, but this is pretty close to where, and I'm actually going to have to bend this one a little bit, give it a twist. But if I have it, these bends that are on it right now, I'm good with. So I'm going to try to mimic this piece, and then I can manipulate it a bit more afterwards. So if I go like that, my bend spot, my first bend spot is going to be right there. Now I really wish I had a better vise, but this is what I've got for now. So I've got it pretty much at that spot, and there's some trial and error in this, and this is where I've been losing a lot of metal and whatnot, just learning, but this should work. I'll do that and then check. That may have been even more than I needed. It was more than yeah, it was more than I needed. Just a lot of trial and error. So I actually like that one right there. So now I can go mark my next spot. And then basically I'm going to hit it until this is straight up. And then we'll go find out if this looks like it's going to work. Now I know there's going to be a twist in it that I don't have yet, but right there, I think that's going to work once I give this a twist. So then I'll come over, mark a spot, probably gonna I'll mark somewhere on the top here, and I think I'll probably, yeah, there's gonna be plenty of room. So I'm gonna go somewhere like here. Then I'll put a bolt through it. I'll come back, or I'm going to mark the hole through it, put a bolt through it, then I'll mark the bottom one, and then drill that one, and then I'll have a bottom mount spot. And that's how I've done every one of these, and the ones I've done is that one, that one, that one, and that one. Then you've got the fairing stay, and I'll get to that kickstand part later, because that's going to be another adventure. So coming over here with a punch. There's my start. There's my little tappy. And this is certainly not OSHA approved. I haven't taken my hand off yet, but stay tuned. Okay. So this one's going to be a little bit different than the other ones I've got, because I didn't grab a long enough bolt to just go all the way through. But if I hold it there, and I hold that there, basically that spot here is going to be my next hole. So I'll make that one up and then connect it. And then to get that little bit of twist I need, now that I've got that hole, what I've been doing is just this, and then we'll see, kind of trial and error, if that's the twist that I need to make this work. right there. So I can get my whole, actually, oh, I twisted that one nice. This should hopefully work, we'll see. I gotta keep the exhaust off the bodywork, plus I gotta buy some heat shielding, but all in due time. So this is the bike without all of the bodywork on it. What's really nice is I can get it off in like under 10 minutes, which is pretty awesome. The tail piece, so I bought this bodywork pre-crashed, which is great because it matches the crash on the left side, which matches mine. I got to figure out how to do some body work on this. I did buy this, I don't know, fiberglass repair kit. Know nothing about it, about sandpaper and all that other kind of stuff, but I will try to get that fixed up. The bigger thing is that I needed to, where the grab bar was, I needed to make a piece so that it could mount through here. And I didn't get this piece from the guy I bought the bodywork from. This piece is fucking super strong. This is really difficult to work with. This is that 1 inch wide, 1/8 inch thick. And this is gonna be really good here. What I really like about this is that I can actually get this tail over the back, and I think I'm gonna be able to use the stock, whatever it is, the fender. Now I got another fender with it. This is the one I'm gonna hack up. I'm gonna cut all the stuff out because I still need to keep the fender, like the plastic part, but I'll just hack off all the other stuff when I do go straight track. But this way I can always put it back to stock if I want to. So this would kind of go over the top, and we got that piece that I mounted in there, and well, this thing's gonna get all kind of busted. What? I've been so good at this recently. There we go. So where I want to do, or what I want to do, kind of put it through the same place that the seat mounted up, right there. So this will work. I can get it all the way up to there. The problem is where he's got his hole cut, it isn't exactly where I want to put it. So instead, I think what I'm gonna do is drill 2 separate holes so that I can then screw into that piece that I mounted on there. Now, why I was thinking about welding is because drilling through, putting something through it, I think if I welded a captive nut on either the center, or because that center's already been drilled through, put one there and one there, then I can have a hole there, and basically just put 2 bolts through here, and it would be super strong on the back. Now, I hate losing the grab bar. The grab bar that I'm talking about, this thing on the stock bike, but everybody says this thing's really ugly and they don't like it and it makes the bike look goofy. I use this thing so often, especially when you're, you know, doing stuff by yourself, being able to grab the grab bar and move the bike around and whatnot, it's so much easier. So I'm gonna lose that, so I want this to be super, super steady on the back. Anyway, that's how I think I'm gonna get the rear tail piece mounted. With the tail piece, and actually, let me put that back on real quick. Somebody that knows more about these bikes than I do could probably tell me whether or not I just wasted 65 bucks earlier this year. I bought on SV Rider a used BRG lowered seat. I don't know if this is something I'm gonna wanna use, but that's a lowered seat, and I just figured I would try it out. I rode it once before the end of the year. Quite uncomfortable. You hit a pothole with that thing, your nuts just crack in half. This is the stock seat, and actually this is a stock seat. It's just modified. They cut some foam out of it and redo it, and that's how it looks with the stock seat on there. And the stock seat looks a whole lot better, but it might turn out that however I ride, this one will be better. So then we've got the Gsxr fairing stay. This is the most difficult part of this, and what I see is he modified it here. So well, I'm guessing it's modified there. If I look at how the bosses on this thing are on the front of the frame, I can go there, but this here is wider. So when I initially just loosely mounted it, it was moving all over the place, which was fine for mounting it up loosely. But this is why that 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 inch aluminum came in really convenient. I just cut a piece of this. Basically, I'm using this as a big washer. So when I put that behind there, there's a little bit of wobble, and once you tighten it down, that wobble completely goes away. So that's just these 2 bolts right here. I'll put that through and you'll see the wobble goes away, and then it matches up with how this one is. And there you can probably see the difference in the width of those 2 things. So set that main fairing stay on there. You can see there's no wobble. The jiggle with it is just the flex within the fairing stay itself. So now I got the main fairing, this whole big old thing, and this will come over, and there's 2 spots I'll be able to get this, and it'll just kind of hang. One there, and then one there. Now I'm kind of keeping a list of the hardware I need to buy, because I'd like to get some more rubber grommets to get them to mount on there as well. So, but this is how I had the whole thing hanging, basically, just off these 2 spots. I don't even have the bolts through them, but I'll just put these in here so that it doesn't move. And then we're going to have the main fairing just hanging. So now I got the main fairing hanging. I'm going to show you what I think is the coolest part of this. Now, people that know about bodywork and race fairings, they already know about these. I had never heard of a Zeus Fastener before, which is what these little guys are. So they're attached, the receiving end is attached on there already, and these will basically just go through and get a quarter turn and close, so you can really quickly just pull this rear or lower bodywork off. These things are like the coolest things ever. Now I've seen, because I've just been watching so many videos trying to figure out how to do this, I've seen where people pretty much do the entire bodywork with these things, so you can just so quickly pull these things off. I don't know, I am fascinated by these. I love them. Whatever these are, whoever came up with this, I hope his name was Zeus, because these are awesome. Where are you? There, right there. All right, so now I'm completely hanging. I've still only got it on by these 2 bolts. And this is basically where I got set and started making all of my little aluminum brackets to hang it in a spot where I wanted. And the parts that I was worried about, basically over here, coming and looking at my list, the big ones were the sliders that I have, and I think I'm gonna have to reposition them. There's 2 axle mount bolts up top. Now this one has 1 cutout for this axle or a slider here. Now that's not the one I have, and there is no cutout on this side. Now obviously my sliders are here. I took the pucks off. I want to be 100% certain of where my bodywork is going to be before I start cutting holes for the sliders. The Gsxr bodywork is so wide that I could actually just have it all the way out here, but because I want it pinched in more, I mean, I don't want that big wide bodywork, so I just made my brackets to pull the thing in more. I'm gonna punch a hole through here with a hole saw. I just want to be 100% certain I know where that's going to be. On the other side, where there's already that hole cut out, I'll have to figure out how to repair this one, or I can just ignore it, because, I mean, who cares? But if I truly wanted to make it look good someday, I'll probably have to repair that part. But now I'm gonna get my brackets, my L1, L2, so my left 1 and my left 2, and this is where these ones are gonna come into play. I'll get all these mounted up, and then once I have that, I'll show you the remaining issues that I have to resolve. One of them being that I think I gotta get some heat shielding on the bottom there. So now you are caught up with exactly where I am. So the main part, I think, is done. There's a whole lot of stuff that I still have to figure out. I've been marking those with the green tape. Like, I gotta figure out the front mount parts. That's gonna be easy. I do have to figure out a bolt set. I think I've also got to figure out a different type of rubber grommet, because these are gonna be too narrow for the bolt that has to go through there for the seat. I also have to figure out which seat I want. The fiberglass repair I can do. I've got plenty of time to figure that part out. The rear, the tail piece, like, I know it's gonna have to push forward, so I'm gonna have different mounting bolts. I gotta figure out if I want 1 or if I want 2. The issue with doing the 1 is that if I do a repair on here, it's gonna be the weaker part, so I'm almost thinking I want 2, and I'm so likely to drop this thing, especially when I'm putting it up on the little Harbor Freight trailer by myself without a grab bar. I need this to be super stable, which leads me into this spot. This is where the kickstand goes, and race bikes don't have kickstands, but working by myself and just knowing how difficult it is to move this bike around by myself doing that stuff, I want this kickstand. I'm gonna cut out this part here. Is it as cool looking as a race bike if you do that? No, but I'm not cool and I'm very slow anyway, so this thing is going back on. I'm cutting this out so I can put a kickstand on there. And then I guess the last thing on the bodywork that's on here, you can see the Gsxr bodywork is super wide. And just with how the brackets are, I can see my right side is skewed already. here, I think I want to bring this in more, so I got to bend these brackets a little bit more so I can take some of that angle out so that it pushes it in more. What I'm thinking is that if it's in the same amount as this one, I could put another spot. Just drill a hole here, zip tie there. It gives some more rigidity right here because you've got this whole jiggly part, and I think I'll be able to look for one more spot where I can just zip tie on the bottom so I can quickly, you know, cut it off during a track weekend or something like that. I don't want to do a hard mount because I think it's going to be too difficult with the kickstand on here, but if I could just do a zip tie right there, it'll give some more rigidity there. And then this part is on here, and a lot of this, I don't have these super tight, so it'll tighten up a little bit, but I don't think it'll be too flaky. I've seen jankier setups at the track. I don't want janky at all, but I'm not, you know, I bought some race, you know, or used fairings and whatnot just to learn about this. I know it's not going to be perfect, and obviously it's not going to be perfect, but I think it'll be pretty cool if I can figure out how to do it. And then when I do get that all figured out, I would like to paint it at some point. I don't know if that's going to be this year or next year or whatnot, but I probably don't want to do, well, I want to do something unique, you know, stand out a little bit. Obviously, most people that are aspiring to be like a racer or something like that, they're going to be trying to, you know, slap all the sponsor stickers and everything on that. If you've seen any of my videos or anybody with any money that would ever be like, hey, we should sponsor that guy, well, one, they're going to be like, he's really, really slow, so that's not a good idea. And then two, if they look at any videos, they're going to be like, oh, that guy's unsponsorable. What I'm thinking is I'd like to do some sort of 12-ounce mouse scheme. 12-ounce mouse was a cartoon back in 2006, 2007, Adult Swim that guides a whole lot of my life. Or the other thing I might want to do is paint the whole thing white and just slap a bunch of goose stickers on it, because geese are pretty much my favorite thing in the world. I just love them. They crack me up. I watch probably 10 to 15 minutes of geese attacking humans every day on YouTube, and oh man, I'd love a goose bike. So anyway, you watched this far. Thanks for watching.